This is not a video meant to attack anyone personally, nor is it a sermon, nor an emotional attempt to force belief on anyone. This is a calm, rational, thorough response to a series of claims often repeated as if they were scientific facts, when in reality they are philosophical assumptions dressed in scientific language. Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens are brilliant speakers, but their brilliance does not make their arguments infallible. What they present as pure reason is often just one worldview among many, a worldview that collapses the moment you examine its foundations with honesty. When Dawkins begins by calling believers deluded in the same way children invent imaginary friends, he isn't offering evidence, he is offering a psychological insult. This approach has existed since Freud and Nietzsche. Instead of engaging with the philosophical argument, you analyze the believer's supposed mental fragility. But calling billions of people deluded is not an argument, it's a dismissal. And ironically, this same logic can be reversed. If belief in God is an illusion because it comforts people, then atheism might also be an illusion because it comforts those who do not want moral accountability or transcendence. If psychological comfort invalidates an idea, then both sides lose. The argument is self-defeating. Hitchens then asks, how can so many people be wrong? Dawkins answers with examples. People once believed the earth was flat, or that the sun revolved around the earth. But this proves nothing. Humanity has held countless beliefs that were wrong, and countless beliefs that were right. The universality of belief in meaning, morality, love, purpose, beauty, consciousness, or logic hasn't been disproven simply because large groups once held false beliefs. Many believe it does not make something true, but many believe it also does not make something false. Dawkins' argument proves nothing. Next comes the geographical argument. If you were born in the Middle East, you'd be Muslim. So belief depends on where you are born. This sounds powerful until you apply it consistently. If geography determines belief, then Dawkins is an atheist because he was born in a secular society. Hitchens is an atheist because he was raised in a post-Enlightenment Western culture. By their logic, their own worldview is also an accident of birth, not a conclusion of reason. The argument collapses on itself. Ideas are not falsified by geography. Otherwise, democracy, human rights, science, and skepticism would all be false because they are also geographically concentrated. When Hitchens claims that God is an invention of human beings, just like Zeus, Thor, fairies, or leprechauns, he commits a massive category error. The failure of ancient mythologies does not disprove the existence of a transcendent creator. The fact that some gods are false does not mean that all conceptions of God are false. Just as the existence of false scientific theories does not invalidate science itself, the existence of false religious ideas does not invalidate the possibility of a true one. This is a logical fallacy known as guilt by association. Then comes Freud's argument. God is a psychological need, a projection of our desire for protection, security, parental care. But psychological desire says nothing about metaphysical truth. My desire for love does not prove that love is an illusion. My desire for justice does not prove justice is fake. My desire for meaning does not make meaning imaginary. The argument again is emotionally appealing but logically empty. Next, they argue that monotheism is just a refined evolution of polytheism, moving from many gods to one. But modern anthropology shows the opposite. Many tribal societies originally believed in a supreme creator before shifting to polytheism. Dawkins is using a 19th century theory long abandoned by scholars. Their version of religious history is outdated. Then Dawkins claims Darwin blew the theistic explanation of life out of the water. This is incorrect philosophically and scientifically. Evolution, whatever its extent, explains variations within life. It does not explain the origin of life. Evolution does not explain consciousness. Evolution does not explain why the universe is mathematically structured. Evolution does not explain moral intuition. Evolution does not explain fine-tuning of physical constants. Evolution does not explain why anything exists at all. Dawkins treats evolution as a magic wand capable of replacing metaphysics, but evolution cannot answer metaphysical questions because it is not designed to. When they say invoking God explains nothing because you still have to explain God, they misunderstand the classical definition of God. Theists do not claim everything must have a cause. They claim everything that begins to exist has a cause. God, in classical philosophy, is understood as the uncaused cause, the necessary being, the ground of existence. Dawkins is attacking a childish concept of God rather than the philosophical concept held by thinkers for 3,000 years. This is called the straw man fallacy. Hitchens mocks the universe's wastefulness, pointing to exploding stars and cosmic destruction as if this disproves design. But the formation of elements heavier than hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, iron, calcium, requires the violent death of massive stars. Without cosmic catastrophes, there are no planets, no chemistry, no life. What appears chaotic is mathematically necessary. The argument from wastefulness collapses scientifically. Then they use DNA similarities as proof of evolution and simultaneously as evidence against a creator. But evolution and belief in God are not mutually exclusive. Many scientists accept both. Evolution may describe how life adapts, but it does not explain why life is possible in the first place, or why the universe has the specific properties that allow evolution to occur. Mechanism does not replace cause. They attack creationists as irrational extremists, but ignore that thousands of scientists worldwide believe in God while accepting science. This is a rhetorical move. Instead of addressing serious philosophical arguments, they target the weakest examples. Hitchens then claims science replaced religion. Diseases are no longer curses. Earthquakes are no longer divine punishment. But religion never existed primarily to explain diseases or earthquakes. This is an Enlightenment caricature. Religion is fundamentally about meaning, morality, purpose, destiny, human value, consciousness, transcendence, and the nature of existence. Science studies mechanisms. Religion studies meaning. They answer different questions. Hitchens says faith is the most overrated of virtues and useless. But he forgets that he himself relies on philosophical faith, faith in reason, faith in the reliability of the mind, faith in objective truth, faith in the intelligibility of the universe. None of these can be proven scientifically. They are metaphysical axioms. Science cannot validate the logic on which science depends. Their critique of faith collapses because they use faith in their own worldview while attacking others for doing the same. Finally, they contrast skepticism with faith, as if the two are opposites. But faith is not blind acceptance. It is trust grounded in evidence, intuition, coherence, and existential experience. Every worldview requires faith. Even atheism requires faith that matter is all that exists, that consciousness is accidental, that meaning is self-invented, that moral values are illusions, that the universe has no purpose. None of this is scientifically proven. These are metaphysical assumptions. Dawkins and Hitchens explain everything except the things that make us human: consciousness, meaning, love, moral intuition, beauty, the longing for eternity, the desire for transcendence. The materialist worldview reduces everything to atoms and in doing so explains nothing about the soul. God is not a scientific hypothesis. God is the deep question behind existence, the foundation of being, the ultimate explanation for why anything exists instead of nothing. Dawkins has not destroyed that question. Hitchens has not solved it. The question of God remains not because humans are weak, but because the universe is profoundly ordered. Conscious beings exist, and truth, goodness, and meaning persist. Humanity does not believe in God because it is afraid. Humanity believes in God because the universe points toward him.